As Jane and Buzzword left by the front door, she said goodbye to her mom, as she had a million times. But only one of them knew it was probably going to be the last time. With her infiltration mission basically over, Jane had made up her mind. She couldn't keep coming back to her mother. Jane wasn't a high school student anymore. She was a spirit guide of the mighty Garou nation, able to read into omens and signs. At least, she would be, after a rite of passage, which, after this, would be a mere formality. It would break Jill's heart, certainly, but at least she would be safe. There would be no need for us to continue escorting Jane after school, out of worry that the Black Spiral Dancer might follow her home. No need, even, to risk unleashing a weird computer bane inside her house. After all, Jill was right there downstairs, while we were doing weird occult cyber-pagan ritual stuff up here in Jane's room. What if the bane had escaped and managed to hide somewhere in the house? What if it had attacked Jill, or worse, had possessed her? Jane did not tell us right away, but she was silent on the walk back to the sept, and it was clear something had changed. When Jane eventually asked about getting her own cot at the sept, it dawned on us. To this day, we often check in on Jill. Despite never really talking to her, we all liked her quite a lot. She did not deserve this blow. The least we could do was make sure she was okay. A few years after that, she had a bout of illness. Cancer, the doctors said. But we found out quickly that it was anything but. The entire pack stepped into the Umbra and fought all night against the most disgusting bane we'd ever seen. I very nearly died, if I'm being honest, but we killed it. Jane absorbed its essence, and that was that. Jill had a miraculous recovery over the next couple of days. She found love again, a little later, married to a nice enough guy with his own family of 2. I don't know that she ever got over the loss of her first daughter, but I do know she loves her adopted children. She's happy as can be under the circumstances. But back to our 3 remaining Black Spiral Dancers. Things got hectic. Now that we had the scent of blood, the worm folk didn't want to risk losing the scent. It may seem like forever ago that we'd killed Evan and gotten his laptop, but that was barely more than 12 hours ago. There was a decent chance the pack wasn't even aware of it, and might be vulnerable to a surprise hit if we moved fast enough. So we decided to go for a 3-pronged approach. The pack of the Northern Expanse, along with Jane, would lay a trap for the counselor, Mr. Irwin. Since he was her counselor, she'd email him and ask for an emergency session. Something about changes and hints at visions. We were going all in to give him the impression that Jane might be a Garou about to change. We were hoping a Black Spiral Dancer wouldn't pass up the chance to snag one of our lost cubs. Now, we didn't know what auspice he was, but Thunderdrop was willing to bet no Aaron could stand being a high school's counselor without frenzying twice a day. So at least he wasn't likely to be their best warrior. Quite a glorious disappointment. Thunderdrop's pack were going to round up Miss Hale, the principal. We assumed she was the most dangerous, or at least the mastermind of the operation, since she had the most authoritative position out of the 4. The strongest and most experienced pack would lay a trap for her, making damn sure she would not make it out alive to try again. This left the secretary, Mr. Lively, by most accounts a nice guy. Jane genuinely liked him and could not believe he was a soldier of the Worm's army, but the Worm's minions are nothing if not mischievous. No one really knew what to expect from that fight, so we sort of just threw the dice and the pack was assigned to do whatever they could to bring him down. They were 3 Garou of similar experience to ours, and the hope was that 3 on 1 would trump whatever tricks Lively would bring into the fray. With a general plan of attack laid out, this left us with a small problem. A full third of the Sept's werewolves would leave the Cairn at the same time, including the most powerful and martial-oriented pack we had. In addition to that, our warder and Sept leader were in no condition to fight. Not if they expected to live through it anyway. We'd be leaving the Cairn severely undefended. So we reached out. We sent spirits and birds and emails and all manner of mundane and occult communications to any who could spare coming over to watch our back while we went out to strike a blow against those who preyed upon our kin. This was the very definition of short notice. We didn't really hope for much. In the end, we still got 7 Garou. Not bad, all things considered. Happy Triggers and Stormy Pete arrived to join their septmate Buzzword from Quebec. 2 Fianna allies of Stormclaw came from his original sept, and yes, that included the one who challenged me for Molly's hand that very morning, a Stargazer no one had invited as far as I know, and one very special guest that was really hoping would accept my invitation. He who speaks with prey, a red Talon who happened to be Firehound's brother, from different litters but the same mother, and just about my only shot to get Jane some time with an actual member of that tribe, one who just might agree to talk. Speaks with Prey had come from a long way, relatively speaking. Everyone else arrived from a sept connected to us by Moonbridge, but he didn't have that option. He'd have to bridge from his sept deep in the forest up north to a younger brother sept and then connect to us. Despite having been in a pack with Firehound for years, neither me or Gloria were very familiar with Speaks with Prey. Back when I met Firehound, Speaks had already left to join the Red Talons up in the mountains. In those days I was a Silent Strider loner, in search of the next big scoop. Specifically, I was chasing a lead to find one of those elusive and rarest of specimens, a Garou-born Silverfang. According to rumors, one of them had lost her pack and was hiding in the frozen north, where her relatives would never seek her out. My travels led me to a little brother Karen that had clearly never even heard of temperatures above -0°C. I fucking hated it. But the people were kind and warm, even to a wormbringer like me. I guess the Silent Strider name really does open doors. Despite being well-traveled, I had no experience in those kinds of weather. Survival meant I needed a guide. Firehound was kind enough to offer his services as scout and space heater. Seriously, if you're ever cold, just dip your hands in that fur. There were nights out there in the frozen expanses, I swear I would have died without him. In particular, when I was chased out of a polar bear's territory, I slipped and fell in a river so large I couldn't even see the other bank. Before you ask me, yes, we could have handled the bear in Krynos, but why? He wasn't harming anyone. It was just a bear doing bear things. Respect all those beneath ye. All are of Gaia and all that. We left it alone and learned an important lesson. Coal and wet pelts don't mix. Soon after that, we met Gloria. Had adventures up north for a couple of years, lost in that frigid wilderness. Happy days. Simple days. Really fucking dangerous days. There are some things up there that will mess even a Garou right up. Eventually, the pack decided to do me a kindness and relocate here, where the thermostat is above 0°C most of the year. We didn't meddle in tribal or sept politics much back then. We just sort of wandered, so meeting with Speaks with Prey just didn't happen much. The second they saw each other, they were like cubs again. 2 humongous white wolves, play fighting, loudly and happily. The typical red Talon pelt wasn't white. It was deep reddish brown, but Speak's ancestry and pure breed came from Little Brother's stock, and it showed. Seeing both wolves having fun, Jane hadn't known better. She was used to our septs lupus, who were pretty chill for the most part, and she roughhoused with Firehound frequently during training. Without thinking twice, she made to join in and give this newcomer a warm welcome. As I registered what was going to happen, I froze. My heart skipped a million beats. Next to me, Gloria got into motion so fast, she probably saw time stand still. In a second, she jumped several meters and over the fire to land squarely on Jane before she closed half the distance. "We do not hug red Talons," she bellowed in panic. Jane's eyes were huge and scared, absolutely clueless as to what was wrong. 4 meters away, Speaks with Prey stopped biting his brother's ears long enough to ask him, "What's up with the Hamids?" Apparently he was himself also a pretty chill lupus. Relatively. Stuck under the weight of his even larger brother, Firehound replied, The silvery one thought you were going to eat the small one, I think. Oh, I could. But there's more meat on you, he replied, ignoring the mess and getting back into play-fighting mode. What's wrong? Jane asked, gently pushing Gloria off of her. In lieu of answer, I approached the two valiant fighters. Speaks with prey, if I may, I politely asked. His eyes shifted in my general direction, but he did not let go of his brother. In body language, this was just as good as telling me that, indeed, I may, while also conveying, can't you see I'm busy? I've been asking members of all the tribes to speak to this cub, under my care, I said, pointing to Jane. Would you agree to tell her about the red talons? He sighed and turned to her, judging how much of a complete waste of energy this was going to be. Without a word, in human or Garou tongue, he turned to Firehound, somehow conveying the question, is this your pack mate? In answer, Firehound walked over to Jane, nudging her affectionately. She sank down and just as affectionately nudged her forehead to his. Body language gets the point across with Lupus. Yes, she was his packmate, in a way, and yes, she would gain from this knowledge, and yes, she would be respectful. I would say that at this point Speaks with Prey agreed, and began talking, but seeing as he's standing right there, looking at me weird, I'd like to invite him to come up and share his side of the story.
Telling stories the human way is difficult. Scent and body language is much more natural to me. But I have done so before, and I will do so now, in respect to your story and of the fallen's memory. I sat on my haunches, indicating that we would be here a while, that she should sit as well. She did not, until Firehound pushed her lightly behind the knees with his body, repeating the words I had not spoken. She understood then that I was addressing her and sat down in front of me. I could smell her unease, her nervousness. So, you're a Red Talon, she asked, saying what need not be said. Yes. What does that mean, she asked. It means I was born a wolf. It means I have never used the Weaver's tools. It means I protect the last of the wilderness from its predators. It means I bleed to save all of my wolf kin and yours. It means your friends assumed I would kill you for the crime of being born human. Her heart beat faster. She became warmer. The scent of sweat became stronger. Why? She asked. Because many believe that it is all we ever do. Because many within my tribe believe that it is the only way to save Gaia. Isn't that going too far? She asked, stinking of fear. Is it too far to kill Fomori? Is it too far to kill Black Spiral Dancers? Garou kill those who do the worm's work, those who hurt and kill the mother. The fact humans don't know of the worm doesn't change what they have always done. But killing them, she asked. Why not if it's the only way to save Gaia? After all, even their own scientists agree. They are telling them to change or they will kill Gaia. Not in those terms, she protested. Yes, in those terms, I snarled back. They say planet, but they talk about Gaia, and still they do not stop. They pursue her destruction even now, doing the worm's work better than he ever did. You're going to make excuses. Humans don't need Garou defending their actions. If they are not stopped, the worm wins. There will not be a glorious final fight on the plains of the apocalypse, because we will be dead before getting there. The other tribes forget. We do not. When humanity began, we helped them. We trusted them. We taught them how to survive, but it was never enough. They took all of our lessons and took them too far. A predator hunts not only for themselves, but also for balance. When wolves arrive into a struggling land, it begins to thrive. The death we bring breeds new life. By culling the prey before they become too numerous for the lands to support, we give that land a chance to heal and prosper. We were shocked when we saw the humans had taken our teachings of fighting as a pack, wearing down a stronger foe to hunt and kill mammoths. We saw that as a good thing then. They were worthy predators. They chose a prey large enough that a single kill could feed many, clothe many. They used all the bones and sinew. We were proud. We encouraged them. But every winter we saw fewer and fewer mammoths, and more humans. Wolves being balanced by culling the animal population that grow too large. But who was culling humans? No one. So the land suffered and the mammoths grew rare. One of ours, runs wisely, asked them why they were so careless. What would they do if the last of the mammoths fell? The humans answered that they would simply hunt something else. Runs wisely knew then what must be done. His fury was unleashed in an attempt to bring back balance, but the humans had spears now. They used the weaver's tools to rise above their proper place in the order of things, and used it to rise even above the Garou. It takes a lot of spear to kill one of us, but the humans did not lack numbers or spears. It was the first time a human had ever killed a werewolf. She was listening intently now. She did not like what I was saying. Homins never do. But she was paying attention, learning. This is how the Impersium began, I added. The herding of humans, she asked, unsure. The culling of humans, I corrected. We hunted them down, drove their numbers back towards balance. But some tribes did not have the heart to do what must be done. And after a time, the nation decided to end it and let the humans spiral out of control. Yes, I said spiral. I chose that word specifically. The world has only gotten worse since. Many species died, their spirits fleeing to our spirit patron to preserve and protect their essence. Rivers were forced out of their natural paths, lands meant to be dry now submerged, ecosystems destroyed at a whim because they need power to keep their houses warm, not content with blankets or a fire. Entire forests cut down because they want paper to tell stories with, not content with their own voices. In the name of whims and fancies, they kill and slaughter and bring unbalance, all for convenience, for progress, to bring light with a flick of a finger. What does it matter, they think? Plants don't feel. Animals have no souls, they tell themselves. But you are Garou. You know better. You feel the land speak. You know that it is alive. It feels. It and everything on it. And someone needs to speak for them, fight for them. And so, many of us kill humans, but not all. She struggled with that truth. After a moment she said, but killing needlessly is wrong. Why do you think we are trying to stop humans from killing every single living being on Gaia? Needless killing is wrong, and yet they do it all the time. Killing should be by necessity to feed or defend oneself. That is not what they do. When we kill them, we do it to defend ourselves, to defend you, our kin, our mother, Gaia. That is not needless, and for some, it is necessary. I don't think we should continue to talk about this, she said, but I will think about your words. I can't imagine that it is all your tribe is about. Surely there is more. There is, but you won't think much of it. What we are is who we are, where we are. We live usually deep in the woods, and we sometimes have scab walkers, which are those like me who explore cities, spying and learning. There are even some humans we support and help, those few who understand nature and genuinely try to help. Remember, we are not about killing humans. We don't want to be doing that. What we are about is living simple lives and helping nature along. More than any other tribe, our wolf heritage defines us. We try to remain as close to our wolf as we can, so as not to lose our instinctual understanding of the world, its workings, and our place in it. That is who we are. So you live with wolves, she asked. No, we cannot. We live close enough to protect them, but we are not wolves. We are Garou. Exposing them to us would change them, endanger them. We do not want that. We let them be. What about your spirit patron? She asked. Griffin. He embodies the past and those killed and forgotten. He remembers them all. Under his broods are many spirits forgotten by all others. He cares for the lost and the bygones, mourning their loss. He still mourns for Mammoth and will not forgive humans for the offense, which is likely why he never chooses a human to join our tribe. We have Garou-born and Lupus, but no Hamids. None, she asked, surprised. None. Then the conversation ended. There was little more to say. We are simple. We like it that way. Simple is how things should be. Now, I grow tired of this. Too many words. This is not how I tell stories.
That's all right, speaks with prey. Thank you for your time and patience. This has been A Rite to Remember, Season 2, Episode 18. A series of lore videos for Legacy Werewolf the Apocalypse, presented through an immersive narrative. The problem with the Red Talons is that they are irrevocably tied to the topic of killing humans, which many people can't see beyond. I mean, to be fair, it's a pretty big thing, and most of their word count keeps coming back to that. Thus, we had little choice but to spend most of the episode covering this same topic. Speaking of, a huge thank you to Toering, another great werewolf content creator, for being this episode's guest. Do please take a look at his werewolf podcast, Lore of the Apocalypse. Trust me, he knows his stuff. We spent a lot of time discussing werewolf and answering questions on various Discord servers, helping newcomers to find their way. So I can tell you that our views of werewolf lines up quite a bit, and that there are few people I would have trusted with the Red Talon tribe. Thank you, Toering. The Red Talons are perhaps the simplest of the tribes, and I think that did them a disservice, because the writers didn't seem to find a lot of good angles to cover besides the fact that some believe all humans should die, to the point where many consider them literally unplayable. I get it, there's only so many ways you can write, they just want to stay as close as they can to being wolves. But the fact is, there's a lot you can do, even with just that. Just because you want to live a simple life doesn't mean you can. Life, aka the storyteller, won't let you. Things will happen that will force you to use reasoning, to grow, despite yourself, closer to your human side. Page 34 of the 2nd edition tribe book has a whole bit about the wolf's heart and the human mind, how both are required, and how Red Talons might come to grips with that. We're not even talking about role-playing how a wolf learns what a gun is here. No, it's about understanding and accepting concepts that the Red Talons think of as specifically human. Things like time and desire. That's about as deep as role-playing can get. Coming to grips with wanting things and accepting that that is a part of you. And from there, the sky is the limit. You grew up thinking humans were the bane of everything, but then you want things too. Wanting things lead to greed, doesn't it? Are you greedy? Are you part of the problem? Or are humans really just following their own instincts? And didn't that one human help you when you were a cub? When you were wounded on the side of the road? How do you even deal with those realizations, surrounded by other Red Talons? In essence, playing Red Talon is about exploring the wolf at its fullest, purest potential, and figuring out how you intersect, interact, and integrate with humanity, if at all. That might mean hating humans. That might mean not even thinking about them at all. And literally every interpretation in between, but the narrative got stuck in a loop on trying to be dramatic and edgy and playing the monster, so the writers made it so that it always comes back to killing humans. So many think that's all they are about, and that is very tiring. Think about it like this. They have 4 camps. All of them are essentially a spectrum of how much or how little they kill humans. 2 camps do it outright with various levels of aggression. Another recognizes humans are a problem, but don't think killing them all is very practical or even possible. The last one thinks that actually some humans can be redeemed. Some of them are pretty cool even. Yes, all of them revolve around the theme of killing humans, but that's not the same as all of them want to kill humans. In fact, if half the camps kill and the other half doesn't, then half the tribe actually doesn't kill humans. When you factor in that the last camp is a secret camp, with members hiding among the other 3 camps, suddenly you realize that the majority of the tribe is actually against killing humans, and actually wants to find a better solution. Suddenly the tribe is actually trying to deal with a violent and vocal minority who won't listen to alternatives. Suddenly most of the tribe is actually filled with decent wolves, should not be on so many no-play lists. Suddenly, the tribe usually thought of as the tribe of murder doggos becomes the tribe of healing, of endings, and remembering the extinct and the bygones. They become the tribe of balance. The first edition tribe book even went so far as saying they understand and accept that the world has moved on and that they were becoming obsolete, that soon they too would end, and that it was okay. It's fucking sad and beautiful. That is the Red Talons. The last bit I want to cover is the Scab Walkers. If you're an avid fan of the tribe, maybe you've never even heard of them. That is because you will not find that camp in the Red Talon books or any of the Red Talon write-ups. They're just kind of dumped randomly in the middle of the book Ways of the Wolf, page 30, in the section about the 2 factions. They aren't even properly named. I call them Scab Walkers, even if it's technically the name of a specific character from that faction, because that's what they do. Scabs being the name the Talons give to cities. They roam the cities in hobbit form, they mingle, they get to know humans, they search for those who deserve to be saved, and eliminate those who are revealed to be of the worm. By the way, take that if you're one of those who still believe the Garou never come near cities, and won't know a cell phone from a pencil. Even the goddamn Red Talons hang in cities. If that doesn't convince you, I can't help you. Just remember to take the book Ways of the Wolf with a grain of salt when it comes to the Talons. The way it's written, the Scab Walkers are the only faction against wholesale slaughter of humans. Thing is, as we established above, we know from the tribe books that it isn't remotely true. That's probably because Ways of the Wolf was published 2 years before the first Red Talon tribe book. It's a shame this faction of city Talons, as it were, was already forgotten by then, and completely ignored since. In the 5th edition, you can take what I just said and throw the whole thing in a mass grave, set it on fire, and roast marshmallows. The Red Talons are exactly what I've been trying to show you that they are not. But now they accept homage. Points for that, I guess. We've done the inclusion thing. The description started by saying that they were the ones to give a voice to those who didn't have one, aka animals. Oh, okay, that's very cool. But then the rest of the write-up ignores that and describes how they just feel it's easier to wipe a city than it is to fight a regulation. And how even the rest of the Garou think that they are way too brutal. I mean, for God's sakes, one of the archetypes is the plague dog, who likes to spread death, disease, and terror. Because that's not wormish or anything. I bet that Red Talon's picture must be on a Pentex Employee of the Month board somewhere. Imagine their expression when they learn he's not even a Black Spiral Dancer. What the hell, W5? Have you even read yourself? This is a huge step backwards and a major disappointment.